Welcome to the third session. What we are doing with Potato Eaters. So, as it is John Abraham's birthday today, we thought it would be nice to have his film seen by as many as people as possible. That's why we made it available in the YouTube, and I just saw, like, I think more than 1,000 people have viewed it. Like, that means at least 600, 700 people should have seen the entire film. So so today, as many would have watched the film and also other films, or whichever is available in the internet. So we have with us uh, Venu sir and Bina ma'am. Like, can you come in, both of us?
Yeah, hi, Naji. Hi,
uh,
everyone.
Hi, Nachi. Yeah.
yeah. So we have already given enough of introduction through our post to the Facebook for people who would be not knowing them enough. Venu sir is a cinematographer. He is also a director. He had started. Both of them are alumnus from Film Institute Pune, and Venu sir had started his career with KG George Iragal, if I'm not wrong. Sir, am I right?
Little earlier.
Like, which, okay, a little earlier. And Bina ma'am, if I'm not wrong, had started her career as editor with Arvindan's film on Jiddu Krishnamurti.
Not really, but anyway.
Yeah,
it's
this
all
is what
around
we.
the same time. It's
Okay.
such history, it doesn't matter really.
Okay. So after that, yeah, they started like that. But what brings them both together here today is Amma Aryan and John. Like, after that, Venu sir had done a lot of films, including for Padmarajan, Manikal, then Arvind, John. He started with KG George and he had directed his film. Ma'am also went on to edit many films, and then she had also been the creative head for IFFK, which happens in Trivandrum, Kerala. Then also they've started a wonderful initiative called Women in Cinema Collective recently, and many more activities which are going. So as we go into this session, this is obviously about John, and John, like, as I understand that, what is John to us is much more than what he has made with his films. What we hear about him, the mythologies, the rumors. Uh, there are different versions of him, like, throughout whatever I've been heard and many people would have heard. But this is also a good occasion for us to go beyond that and to also see, when people say maverick and erratic and, like, other things about his films, it is also not devoid of the precision, or what you called as some kind of efficiency with the craft. Maybe not in a very traditional Hollywood sense of perfection, but there was something else which, for us to even dig in deeper and, like, to know about his films and him, and also uh, more than that, what was Odisha Collective, because we are also a collective. We drew inspiration from that a lot. Uh, so as I actually remember the Odisha steps from Battleship Potemkin. Also, they say that historically the Odisha steps wasn't a situation like that. But when Eisenstein did that, and, like, it became an iconic thing in the cinema history, and, like, John takes the name, I think that is also a kind of allegory, like how things are worked with the name itself. So, Sir Venu sir, can you hear me?
Yes, again.
Yeah. So I'll start from, like, who is John to you? Like, because there are different things about him, and, like, how do you know him? Like, because we know him, like, after 35 years of Amaria, like, all these things have come, and, like, so much have been written and spoke. But how do you know him, as a FTI senior, or, like, how?
No, actually, he used to hang around my hometown a lot in Kottayam.
Okay.
That is not actually his hometown, but so I've seen him from my, say, college days. Seen him in the sense, seen him pass by. So I mean, it's different. At that time, he was like a filmmaker. What do you say? Um, then we got to know, like through people and all that. Then I went to the institute, then came back. Then it was another John. Then we shot a film. That was another John. And so it was growing. Um, I've seen him since I was like 15 or 16.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Ma'am, how was the introduction for you? Like,
My introduction is very interesting because, of course, one had known. I don't know if I've told this story or maybe I've told it too many times some years ago, but recently I have not told it. So I was, I had studied in Delhi. Of course, I'd heard about John Abraham and I'd even perhaps seen that first film. But I was a fresher at the Film Institute. I had come to the Film Institute and it was all a ragging time and so on. And suddenly I was sitting in the uh, uh, tea shop opposite the institute. At that time, somebody called Nainan used to run that tea shop. And I was sitting there and this very gruff voice came and accosted me. I was really scared. You can imagine I was about 18 years old. I had not seen much of the world. I had no exposure to the film world at all. And this, I mean, it was John. Later I realized it was John Abraham, and he really ragged me. I mean, in the sense he wanted money. He was saying, "What are you doing here? Why have you come?" That kind of thing. He used to always have this kind of, you know, humorous aggression. But as a young person, I was totally unprepared, and I got really scared. I remember. But the interesting thing is that as he left, he tells Nainan, "This is my friend. You better take care of her while she's at the institute. You have to take care of her." So it was a strange introduction where I was really fearful and really awestruck by this character, but also felt this warmth because as he left, it was almost, you understood that half of it was just a joke. And yeah, so that was my introduction to John. Of course, after that, uh, I came to Kerala. And I came to Kerala, we decided to live in Trivandrum, and he became a very close friend, and he used to be at our house very regularly. And in fact, uh, 1 year after we came to Trivandrum, we sat with him for a week or 10 days in Calicut, uh, in a lodge called Aradhana Lodge, where we sort of started work on the script of Amaryan. That 1 week or 10 days. Now we were there for
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that much. Yeah, writing the script of Amaryan. For me, it was a fantastic experience because I had just come to Kerala, and I remember how John took us around. He took me to Bepur. He took us. The painter, who was that? The painter who died. We went and we went to his place. So it was like also, in fact, like the film was an introduction to, or the film is a journey through a kind of political period in Kerala. For me, I think that trip to Calicut was a unraveling of Kerala, of a different kind of Kerala, really, through with John. Yeah.
as I also, I visited Calicut many times because I come from Pollachi, and like, for me, Calicut was always about food. Like till a point, I was introduced to Bashir. Then after Bashir, then whenever I go now to like when I went to Kerala, also, when I went to Calicut, there is something about that city because it has for me at least it feels like as if it's a cultural capital of Kerala. Why is that so? Like, if it is true, why is that so? Otherwise, like, why am I hearing so many people associated with Calicut as such? Like, especially writers, intellectuals, painters, filmmakers.
I think maybe Venu can answer that, but I mean, there is some truth in what you're saying, because I do know that even Arvindan and all these people uh, always think very nostalgically of the bonds of the time they had in Calicut, which seemed to nurture a certain, but I mean, whether it's still like that, but there is a very strong kind of different culture that does exist, and very rooted in Calicut. Yeah, I think Venu can talk about
Yeah, certain places have this quality of respecting artists and writers, and Calicut is one of them. It's like it's a good fertile soil for artists and writers, and that kind of creative people. And it's not you don't have to be. Some places you have to be ashamed that you're an artist. Calicut is not one of those places.
that.
They get, yeah, they like it. They like people who are artistic. Yeah.
Hmm.
No, you said
And
something.
also that,
Yeah.
I mean, they have such a music culture and all that, so
It's not
it's,
because of that.
hmm,
So
yeah.
politically also, no, politically also it's very vibrant. Like as I understand, like the place having something.
Yeah, whole of Kerala is politically vibrant. Calicut is, yeah, it's true. Everything. Calicut is a vibrant place.
Yeah.
And it's very. See, I don't know if John could have made this Amarian if he was operating in another part of Kerala. Seriously,
Okay.
I can't imagine it happening, in Trivandrum or say Kochi. Yeah, seriously, because you need, like some kind of people to get these things done, and you also need the ability to convince these people. And John was actually quite a bit of a leader, of the pack. That is important, and that is why Odessa did not they did try, but they could not succeed in making another film after John died. They tried with a couple of others, tried in the sense like, yeah. So it was quite a bit of John's personality as well that helped people together.
Okay, because I think it was the same time. I was also wondering, like his first film was in Tamil, right?
Yeah.
Like,
No,
and I,
first film was Malayalam. The second film
Malayalam.
was
yeah, that
Yeah,
the
yeah.
second film was in
yeah.
Amarian
Agraharathil Kadai.
was in Tamil.
Correct.
So, and also I have heard about Pune House, like something called Pune House in Chennai. Do you remember anything like
No,
that?
I'm much junior to these people.
Okay, so
So I
why
don't
I'm
But
know.
there was something like that, na? George, KG George.
Yeah, KG George, Ramchandra Babu, John, similar people, and Azad. So they all used to hang around, because they were people who know each other from the past. So they grouped together, and probably they were. And those days, these film institute people were seen as slightly different people. So
Not liked.
yeah.
I don't think it's changed. Like not much.
Yeah, I mean, it's changed a lot. It's not very much. It's not very fashionable now.
Because maybe a lot of film institutes have come. That's also a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So why
And
I
also,
asked,
like
yeah.
when you have to invest to get an education, then you don't want to waste it, or you want to be serious about it. So now people pay a lot of money, to learn filmmaking. I mean, those days we paid nothing. So in the institute.
Even we were privileged not to pay much.
Yeah.
So,
So it's like an investment now.
huge investment actually.
Yeah.
So why I was asking this question, because it was the same time when MB Srinivasan and Nimai Ghosh had started this collective in Chennai, and they actually started with CPI support. They actually started a collective for film technicians as such. Nimai Ghosh made Chinnamul and all. Then he actually was invited here. He lived here actually for quite some time. He cinematographed and all. So I was wanting to know whether John was also part of that by any chance. They also
I
made
don't
a
know.
film, Paadai Theriyudu Paar. They made a film also, which the print of the film is almost lost. Like we couldn't find the film.
I have no idea. Actually, those were days when we were. I have no idea. I have no personal.
No, even I don't know
no,
whether he
no,
was a
no.
part of it. I know they all hung out together, etc. But whether John was a part of this, I don't know.
Okay, because after that, MB Srinivasan also shifted to Kerala. Like
Trivandrum, he came to Trivandrum. Yeah.
So that's why I was.
Hmm.
Another thing which is very interesting for me is I read somewhere, whether I don't know, again like a lot of mythologies around him. So he also read somewhere that he had told that he liked to make films more in Tamil, but somehow that didn't happen. So Agra Artil Kaladai, why was that? Do you know that why was that placed there, like instead of Kerala? It's because of the Brahmin community being more like what?
No.
More
No,
powerful there?
probably because he got a story that he really, an idea that he got really interested in, and that happened to be happening in Tamil Nadu. I don't think there is anything more than that.
Okay.
Brahmanical and all would have, evolved slowly, and the idea would have been the donkey, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Starting point.
Okay. Because of Balthazar or John himself also was very fond of donkeys, you say?
No, he was not fond of donkeys. He just had this sense of humor about everything.
Okay. No, I was very fond of donkeys when I was growing up, because now I don't see donkeys at all. When I was growing up in my town, there were a lot of donkeys around, so I really loved them. But
they're in Pollachi, huh?
No, in my village near Pollachi. No, near Pollachi. It's like called Devanur Budur. So there used to be a lot of donkeys in my village, but somehow they disappeared. I keep wondering. I asked my grandmother also, like where they did. Nobody has a clue, but you don't see.
Yeah, that's true. You don't see many donkeys now. Actually, the place where I saw
lack of employment, I'm sure.
Unemployment.
Okay, could be. So, as you told that story about sitting in the lodge and like writing the script of Amarya, can you please like open upon that? What was the seed? How the name came actually, Amarya, and it's very powerful. Like still now when I hear, and I don't like any of the translations which they have in English or something. That's why it's put like that. So how the seed came, and like how he would start narrating the script, and then we'll also go in like how did you shoot a scene, and like all that things little bit. If you can, both of you can open up. Sir?
You want to start, Venu, or should I?
I can start.
Please start.
Where do I start?
Let me start one thing.
Yeah.
Only one thing I remember then, because I think Venu is much more clear about that. My memory is like...
I'm not at all clear.
It's
a few years ago.
The one thing I remember very clearly about that is that John had that last scene in his mind, where he wanted to have this screening on the beach, and this group of people walking and the mother leading. I think that was the one image that I remember he told us, even before the script, before everything.
No, he had a lot of images and a lot of scenes and all, like the thing is he refused to write it down, because that was, he thought that was not necessary. It was not necessary for anybody else to look at it. But at the end, he had to do it. So he called us and then he stopped drinking for a few days.
That was the key.
Then he decided he can write it down. Then he called us. Then we went there, and he will say, he will walk around and he'll say something, and I'll write it down. And then we wrote about 30 scenes or something. Then he got tired of it, and he went for a drink, and he came back.
And that was
then the rest was not written.
Actually, it's only the beginning of the film which he wrote. He had this last image.
And now, when you... Sorry.
Yeah, continue.
And now when you look at the film, I haven't seen it many times lately, but when you look at the film, those portions where like it was scripted down are the weaker areas visually.
So what do you mean to say by that? Like,
No, it doesn't go with this kind of way. People have comfortable ways. So I mean, everybody doesn't have to be go the same way, same drill. So I think this probably, I don't know. Yeah,
no,
that
because
could be the
you're a
reason.
cinematographer. Like, why I'm curious is that you're a cinematographer. Like, because I'm also yet to do my film. So if I don't have anything, like then, like how do I prepare actually? How do I say? How do I
No,
communicate?
you have a few things. What you don't have is and a commitment on paper. You know what I mean? So it's okay. It suits some people, you know. I mean, if you ask me, it doesn't suit me at all. You know, like I'm not. I don't have so much. Like either memory or like spontaneity or I don't know. So John did not want all this. You know, he was not a. He did not like any kind of possession. So this was like a possession for me, for him, like a script. Like it's like a kind of unnecessary thing around. I mean, he was a free person, right? He didn't carry things, so. So that was how it was, I think. I think these things are personal, it's not it's not ideological or, like this is my way of shooting. This is some people have this kind of ways. This is one of them, actually.
I would also like to say that I think the process of the way the film was made lent itself to this. You see, because uh, uh, how was this film shot? This film was shot that they journeyed, all these people, the whole crew journeyed together from one place to the other. He had this sort of route that he had, and everywhere they went, there was no, I mean, it wasn't like a big production setup. It was local people. They were taken care of. They stayed. Everybody was acting. So I think the the energy of the film was that spontaneity. It could not have been scripted in a sense, and he sort of lent himself to that. I mean, I remember I went for uh, one schedule of a few days. I went to Wayanad, and I remember we were just driving, and suddenly he saw this hill, and we just stopped, and he made Joy go up the hill and sit and look in the distance and all that. And it was such a, I mean, for Venu, it was such a job, literally climbing that hill with this camera and so on. And there was no clue where it would fit, why it was there. But what he did was he, at the edit after the of the seeing the dead body, he put this scene, and he's put Pablo Neruda's poem Death Alone over that. So suddenly it got a different meaning. So I think John had this ability to actually pick up things. And I remember when we went to the Calicut Medical College, for example, there was this historical strike going on over there. And there was this cow eating that poster. There's that one. It's a passing shot, but it was all just part of what happened. For me, it's very interesting because it's not documentary. It's not a documentary film, but he was able to create the energy of a live situation through the shooting process. That I think that was quite special about uh, the shooting. I don't know if Venu agrees with that, but I really, when I was there for a short while,
Agrees with what?
with the fact that he was able to create energy in the shooting process through live
I mean,
situations.
this whole Odessa was born out of his energy. I mean, and ability to convince that this is possible. That way, he was. That is what I was saying earlier. Yeah.
So like when especially during these times when we do a when I hear people doing independent cinema, so-called independent cinema, there's so much of exploitation also comes with that. Like at one end, you have mainstream industry, though there is exploitation, at least people get paid. I hear a lot of stories from so-called independent cinema market where people don't get paid. They almost take it for granted. They think that people should work because I'm creating art. So I would want you people to just open up a little bit on the production, how Odisha could collect money, how they paid the people, how what was the contribution of, for instance, I go to a village and I shoot, what are the people
Odessa, for Odessa, there was no concept of a production or anything. It was like actually like a daily bread production. See, they had an arrangement with the Film Development Corporation of Kerala for a package. So if you give some small amount, like 1 lakh or something at that time, you could get their equipment and their little bit of manpower from that amount, which is quite good. The shoot will go on. Then the rest is like lodging and food, which was being
Film stock.
the money was film stock, of course, what the KSFDC was arranging. So the daily expense was the major production worry. So that they were managing on a daily basis actually. So I mean, everything was most not even basic, below basic.
So everybody was getting paid and all, like that's what I was
There
saying.
was no question. There was no money, so nobody asking for it.
Okay,
So the problem comes when some people are gaining and the others who toil are like losing out.
Mm-hmm.
See, that is what is happening with the kind of films you are talking about earlier, where people don't pay. For like this is all personal glory. A lot of people think like if they make a film and they're doing great service, but there are a lot of people who are working to make a living. So people have to be paid. There's no question about it. But in case of things like Amma Aryan, there was no question about. There was no. There was no concept about payment. The thing is like you give something there. If you have some money, give it.
So it's like you're also part of the collective, no? You become
I was not.
camaraderie.
No. I have nothing official about
Odisha.
No.
Both of you?
No, I mean, we're not officially, but certainly, as Venu says, while people gave 1 rupee or 2 rupees, we gave what we thought was what we were able to give. Or John chose us.
I didn't give anything. But John actually lived off me for a long period of time during the shooting. So that will be counted as my contribution.
No, but your work was your contribution.
That's a big
apart from that.
Well, but, work goes without saying, I think. Like otherwise.
Yeah, apart from that.
But it is interesting because I think if you look at it historically, it was quite an unusual thing that he was able to. Not only him, actually, John was a kind of inspirational figure, but there were a whole lot of people like Ahmad, Soman, lots and lots of people who really worked to make this possible.
Yeah.
And I think more than just the making of the film, it was how this film was carried, was shown all over the place. I mean, it was never released officially, but it has had more screenings than any other sort of commercial film or as many screenings, because they just literally carried this 16mm projector from village to village, from town to town, and screened the film. So Odisha actually, finally, if you see, is not only about the making of Amma Aryan, but also about how there was a feeling that an intervention had to be made, not only in production, story, politics, but also distribution. So as Venu just said, this whole thing about the independent film, when you try and define what is an independent film, an independent film, it does not mean that only one person sort of gains everything. That was the difference with Odisha, where we were all sort of putting in, whether Venu was putting his camera work, I was putting my editing skills, everybody was putting in. and believe that it's worth doing it, you know.
So you think with OTT and like other platforms coming now, something like Odisha will be more, I wouldn't say easy, but more accessible, because yesterday we just put the print and like more than 1,000 people have seen by now. So this wouldn't have been possible. I know that lot of people are not privileged enough to have a computer or mobile or internet, but comparatively speaking, do you think Odisha will have more power now? Both of you, sir and ma'am, like if you can.
Power with what?
Power
We
with
see.
disseminating the culture, or like taking the film to people, or making it
I mean,
with
it's
the
been
Can
happening now. It's been happening, and it's very, very,
every,
like
yeah,
very,
it's
very,
been
very.
seen a lot.
No, no, it's not. It's very important that it's happening even now. See, all these years it's been happening. No? This film has been going to people, isn't it? People have been seeing it here and there, and see, also, like, see, I am a person. I've shot something like maybe close to 100 films. And no, I don't. I'm not being asked about any other film that I did as I'm asked about Amaryan. I mean, nobody asked me about a one particular film, or like the discussion is never around one film. Only in this case, in every time, like, so it's good to have been associated with that in various ways.
Just to answer your question about the OTT platforms, etc., I must say I'm not so hopeful. I mean, of course, it's good that's available on YouTube, etc. But these algorithms really frighten you, huh? They push taste in a certain manner, which is not, I think, is not really healthy. I mean, in the sense that if I watch some one thing, 40 things will come up which may not be related, which not, but they there is some sense that they're pushing you to see certain things, so I'm not so sure about the OTT platform, but I think the fact that it can now be at least possible is I mean, to be able to see it is a really good thing. Yeah, certainly. I mean, that way uh, I mean, the net has opened up all these possibilities. Yeah.
because sir, when you were telling about like like this particular film becoming a point of discussion whenever there was cinematography being discussed. So what was, apart from whatever you have spoken about the process and like how things were handled and all, beyond that, what was the difference? For instance, what would be the difference you will say working in Irakal and Ammarian? Like if I have to ask,
See,
like beyond all this.
Iragal was a proper production, proper planned, tight shoot. Everybody knows what's going on. Very, very uh, planned work. The other one is just the opposite. You decide on the way, like while you're traveling, while you're sitting in the van, you decide what you shoot, what you're going to shoot. Or sometimes you don't even know what you're going to shoot. As a cameraman, I didn't know many times what was about to happen. Because not because he didn't want to tell me, because he himself didn't know, what was going to happen. So unless we go there and see the crowd, and he's also like like he's very easy with people. So he likes crowds, and he likes to talk to and do his bit of show off and with people, and so he likes people. So see this the earlier few scenes, like were all shot without actually really, without giving it any actual thought. The action was being done, so it's up to you how you're going to shoot it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but how
So
does, yeah.
because we had this loose fluid camera in the hand, it was so much easier, because like even if what is, see, we had to reenact few things in the film, like what is really happened, like acts of violence, stuff like that, and they were pretty, actually when you see it, not in the film, but when they do it, it's like it looks fake, because like staged. But because since we had this moving camera, what happened was you could cover it up a lot, like hide it, the untidiness, and make it more vibrant, and make this clumsiness less visible. So if it was a fixed camera, it wouldn't have happened. That
Okay.
kind of rescue.
Okay.
Also, just one question, if I can just dwell on why it was done in black and white, and what was that choice that you all made to shoot it in black and white?
That is also because see, actually the thing is, I told you this Film Development Corporation was the whole. They were giving all the help, in the sense, all the equipment. So now the option was either you can. John said he wants to shoot in 16 mm color, and then blow it up into 35, which he decided to do. But then this idea of newsreel kind of shoot came up, and shoot it like a news reel, and then the 16 mm camera they have is an ARRI 16BL, which is a heavy camera. It's like it's not easy to put it on the shoulder and shoot the whole film. So then the other option is to shoot it with the ARRI 2C and shoot 35, but we didn't have money for 35 mm film. So we decided to shoot 35 mm black and white. That was the only way. Save money and make this hand holding possible. But then John had this little this thing about, he told me, one thing, I've never shot a film in color. This was supposed to be my first color film. Anyway, I'll make it black and white this time.
How sad. You never did make a color film finally.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
Ma'am, I would, because for many people who wouldn't have even seen the movie or machine, and also like how the process happens. So I want you to speak on that. But should we show the clip and you speak, or?
Either way, we can speak a bit. So I'll just tell you, those days what happened was that the film was, we cut it on celluloid film. And as we were part of this KSFDC package deal, which was the cheapest available, we had to cut it on a moviola. Now it's unbelievably primitive. Some of the best films have been cut on a moviola, but at that time the KSFDC moviolas were a bit primitive, etc. So it was not such an but there are two, three things I remember very clearly. One is that I remember watching the rushes of Amaryan. We were, a few of us, and Venu was so tense because at that time you don't know. I mean, unlike today where you just see the film immediately and and you have your what is the spot editing, all that thing goes on. At that point, it has to go to the lab. You have this 2 weeks. You come away from location and
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah, 1 month,
1 month
or whatever. You don't know what you've shot, etc. But I remember it was the most astounding experience when we saw those rushes. It was just something else. I cannot tell you. I mean, at that point, everybody was just gobsmacked, absolutely, seeing those rushes. It was just a rush where you see takes again, you see this, you see that, all that. But it was amazing. It was an amazing rush to watch. And then we went to edit. And of course, John by then was totally in his own world, and he was, freaking out. And I mean, he was so proud of those rushes, actually. John was a bit like that. Now, he used to feel, oh, I've done it already, kind of thing.
Steady.
Yeah. So it used to be really. And then again, you see it on this little moviola screen, and it's going, the sound goes on at the same time, and you're cutting and you're and John is lying there completely lost, shouting sometimes, shouting at me and so on. So it was quite a dramatic kind of editing room scene. And then we decided to project, I remember too, because you have to project the first cut, the rough cut.
That is
Whatever.
without sound?
I think it was the first, without
Like,
sound.
yeah.
Oh, no sound is not there at all at that time. There is no
Okay.
sound.
Okay.
You just see silent, literally, because the sound has nothing. We didn't.
Because
we
there
didn't
was no live recording.
pilot track.
Okay.
They did a pilot track. I don't think so.
There was no recording.
There was no recording at all. So, and I remember, my
Alive or
God,
dead.
everybody saw this first cut, and I think they nearly killed me. It was an awful cut. I mean, it was from those rushes that was so fantastic to this cut that was so terrible. It was quite I remember I nearly thought I'll die that time. It was an awful sort of first cut. But then first cuts are like that also, you know, in the sense that it's part of the process. And now, of course, you all can do +1 frame, -1 frame with just one tap. But over there, you had to see it to understand the rhythm, to get the, you know, the complete rhythm of the cut, etc. So that for me was a very sort of telling moment, because I knew that sort of everything had gone wrong with that cut when I saw it on the screen. Anyway, then we worked on it again and all, and I think it's a little better. I'm not saying, I mean, I still don't think Amaryan is a very well cut film or anything. I think it rests a lot on the ideas of the film much more. So, and the way it's shot, of course. So, yeah.
So now I'll show the clip. So then
Yeah,
I'll
sure,
ask
the clip.
some. Yeah.
Yeah. No sound.
Yeah, just a minute. There's no sound?
No.
Just a minute.
So what is this clip?
This clip is the ration shop.
This is one of those things I was telling you, where they were just asked to do whatever they know that
What they had done, they were
Yeah.
just asked to read.
ഗോഡൌണുകളിൽ പൂഴ്ത്തിവെച്ച അരിയും പഞ്ചസാരയും ബലം പ്രയോഗിച്ച് പുറത്തെടുക്കുകയും ചെയ്തു. അവ ന്യായമായ വിലയ്ക്ക് ജനങ്ങൾക്കിടയിൽ അവർ വിതരണം ചെയ്തു. അതിൽ നിന്നും പിരിഞ്ഞു കിട്ടിയ തുക അവർ വ്യാപാരികളെ ഏൽപ്പിച്ചു. ഇതും ഞാൻ അമ്മയെ അറിയിക്കട്ടെ.
So what about it?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what about it?
So many things actually. One is when you said that when you don't because it's a film, like you don't have money, and like you don't have obviously if you call these many junior artists, you must be paying like lakhs only for this. So uh, why would somebody from the village or like so who had nothing to do with the film come and do this for you, like stand the whole time and like without expecting anything else? This I'm
Actually,
little.
like the impression or the film was seen as like people's cinema, literally. So everybody was supposed to be a part of it. Whoever wants to join could join in, could contribute in some way or the other. Like, so people were asked to like, and very quickly people realized this is not like regular film shoots and it's there are actors and this and that and. So they all came voluntarily. I mean, some people, somebody organized them, somebody told them to come. Like crowds are always there. There were so many people. That is why I said he used to get very excited looking at the crowd. We didn't know how many people were going to be here. He said there's a queue. They are, John said, and they are distributing rice, and we need to shoot that. This is all the briefing. So, so, so we go there. He gets so excited because he see this never-ending line, already, and it was late. It was just getting dark, and there was. I mean, he just took me like he used me like an equipment, like pushing me and taking me. And I was thinking, why is he not cutting the shot? Why is it not never ending? So I had to go on. I was not expecting it. The whole thing was. I mean, I just ran around them for in 2 circles, I think, and that was it. Then 10 minutes, then we left. So these things happen
Ma'am,
actually.
ma'am, are you there? Can you hear me? Bina, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just I had muted my mic.
yeah. So I like when you told there was no sound, and like especially when there is music, this is also powerful because of the words and music which flows. So how do you cut such a situation, like where obviously it is.
As chaotically as it's cut now. Well, I must tell you, for that first scene, I've said this before earlier. In fact, I had sort of chopped it up a bit, thinking that, what is this unnecessarily, as Venu says, this shot just goes on and on and on. Uh, and I think also John had this idea, or he had formed this idea in his head, which uh, had not really sort of uh, crystallized in terms of words or in terms of music or anything. But when I did the cut, he just shouted at me. He said, "No, nothing doing. These 3 shots are to be kept like this. You take it all the way front, you cut to this thing, come back and come back again." It was like totally clear in his mind. And I remember thinking, this is like overstating it. Yeah, we've understood. The idea is there. But I think later when it was actually then that he also he thought of the sound later. See, but these are all also true experiences that have happened. This uh, uh, a lot of the feedback of what actually happened he got from the people, because these are all the people who were involved with that struggle. It was a real incident that happened in Kottapuram in North Kerala. So there were people who were involved. They actually, I remember, because while we were editing, I remember when they, go to the ration shops and so on, there was somebody there who told us this is how it happened. We all went. So there was some sort of reference for him. And I think that that is what he used. It wasn't like he imagined this sequence. This was something that actually happened. And it's really interesting because when I think of what a documentary is and what fiction is, I've spoken about this earlier, that actually this film becomes the memory of that event. It is actually now, this is the documentation of that event, which is actually not true. So it's quite interesting because I think John worked at these levels of how fiction and documentary, he was able to combine both of them. So the voice, for example, Joy's voice coming and wanting to tell his mother, the whole notion of the letter, sending that letter. So I think these elements of fiction, uh, recreation, I think this was the strength of the film, basically, that it's not a fiction film at one level, but it is a fiction film at another level. So it's quite a, I think John was able to realize that. But having said that, a lot of it was very free flowing. He had no, or at least to us, he had no idea of the soundtrack till later. He would say that this is going to be a revolutionary song or something, but I think it was only as he sort of sculpted the film, if you know what I mean, in his own way. He sculpted the film. Yeah.
So,
So it's like the script writing process. He had, I think, the beginning point, he had the end point, and he had this journey. And then he sort of kept shaping it as it went along. So there are all these scenes where they're sitting in the Jeep looking out, where there's this whole poetry going on. There's this talk about Che Guevara, all that. I think these were all things he just did as he went along, literally. But not not without an idea. I think the idea was very clear.
mm,
This was the sort of reporting of a period, you know, the politics of that period, the disappointments of that period. I remember when we were editing, for example, uh, uh, just through the process, somehow we'd always end on the face of a mother, and that sort of became a pattern,
mm.
that we'd say, okay, we'll always, that waiting mother became a kind of symbol of the whole film, in a sense. Yeah, but these were not, I don't know how to say. I mean, it's not because I'm saying that John didn't know what he was doing. It was just that he had this ability to react to his material and shape it as it went along, which is really it's a very unusual way of working and very interesting way of working. I think you have to have a very live mind to be able to do it like that.
And as you said that though it was not released and but there are two questions. Like, if it is not released, but it's also got a lot of popularity, then people literally took Odisha people took the film to the uh, to the people. So I'm wondering that if that is the case, then why this kind of film or collaboration didn't happen with Odisha? And like, how could, if it is not a film which has got released, then how could somebody come to produce his next film? Like, these are things which I want you people to maybe little bit open up.
Well, first of all, of course, he didn't make another film
Mm,
because he passed away. He was sort of wanting to make another, but Odessa never made the film. And I'm telling you, this is, I mean, at one level, there is the whole romantic notion of Odessa and, what happened with Odessa. But also at one level, I wish it had lasted longer. I wish that energy had been there, because what it did was fantastic, but whether it wasn't able to sustain beyond a point, unfortunately. But this is the nature of collectives sometimes. This
okay.
is a reality. I mean, even if you think of the earlier one where Mani and all of them made that collective,
Mm.
even that sort of went. I don't know, maybe that's the nature of, creative collectivity is a very, very challenging
Because he
situation.
believed, like, whatever interviews I read, he literally believed in this kind of a, though he says that cinema is not a collective art, it's mostly about the director and others are like collaborating, but he believed in this kind of a collective. That's another contradiction which actually surprises me. And another thing which I'm like curious is, who is Hari, and like who's this Ammarian? Because what happened is that in 70s till I think 80s 90s, before globalization, this angry young Indian image was so prominent in Hindi cinema, to an extent even in regional cinema. How this impacted Kerala's culture of films, and who was Hari, according to John? Who is he? How he is born as a character?
I think Venu should talk a little about that.
I don't know. I never. I don't know. I don't know if he had anybody in mind, or I don't know what he represents. But I really
But
don't know.
I would say that in a
See,
sense,
he is definitely a persecuted artist in the film, which is because there are. I mean, he was very insistent upon, emphasizing how his hands were spoiled because he's a tabla player, how his fingers were crushed by the police boot. So he told me that we have to shoot it in detail, which means, those things are important for him. Probably how his, like a tabla player without, what do you say,
fingers.
useful fingers. So maybe that is definitely one aspect of that character, but again, the politics of it. It's actually, it's all this romantic left, it is, a lot of it is there. I'm not saying romantic in a bad way, but yes, that has a lot of influence on this film.
Because it's also a lot
People
of
who are involved,
angst.
people who are involved around the film, many of them were also involved in leftist activities, and they were pretty. They didn't know, they were very confused. They had, I won't say each and every one of them, but most of them, they didn't know, whether how to go on. So this was like an opening, filmmaking is a creative and politically strong activity, isn't it? If you want it to be,
If
like
you
that.
want it to be, actually.
Yeah.
I would also like to add that I think for me, at least now when I see it and so on, Hari, in a sense, represented a kind of disillusionment also. This was post.
No, it's total disillusionment.
Yeah, it's the post-emergency period. It's the killing of the Nakshal movement. All that. It was a period where, while you see all these fantastic movements, etc., that have happened in Kerala, you see that you confront the fact that he's killed himself, that he has, so I think it is about disillusionment. It's about how I think that for me was what I remember feeling that John was trying to say, that there was a whole generation that was actually so idealistic and so wanting to see this change, and unfortunately were pushed either through circumstance or politics into a situation of hopelessness. This is actually a very strong thing in Kerala because it did happen. A lot of them did choose suicide as a kind of way out. Yeah.
Even Ammarian crowd, at least 2 or 3 have killed themselves, later after the film was made.
So
it is a story of disillusionment, actually.
Because it's everything. Like it's there is Mao, there is Mao Zedong, there is church, then there is the apolitical intellectuals. It's a kind of contradictions put together. So that's why I feel this. I'm also curious that how did this reflect in the films which came later? Like I mean, like immediate later. I'm asking, like, was there any kind of a strong presence of Ammarian, which could actually, at least people feel that to do?
See, Ammarian was a success in the sense the film got made. That itself is a success. Then everybody thought it's quite an easy thing to do, just collecting money from public funding and and making a film. And at least 3-4 people have approached me to make such films. So anyway, and a lot of people thought it was very easy. People who who are imitating John and trying to look like him and misbehave like him, and used to call them clone Abrahams. So,
Really, that was the name.
we used to
Venu
call
put the
that.
name Clone
No, that's something which I wanted to ask later, but you came to this. Okay, tell me.
What is it?
Like about this mythology, because people just take these things, growing a beard or like the alcoholism or something else, but they actually miss the other side, like the be the political will or his knowledge.
the
Yeah.
enormous talent,
Yeah, enormous talent.
enormous talent. I mean, he was an unbelievable. You know, you could have a conversation with him about anything. He had the most amazing sense of humor. He had the most fantastic. I mean, he was a really accomplished person, but he was. I mean, for him, he wore it so lightly. This is what people don't understand, that there is a, you know, there is that genuine, he was a genuine person, really a genuine, there was some, like we say, genuine artist.
Mm.
He was a genuine artist. My
No,
God.
he was a hustler. He was like he didn't know, like uh, see, he was a daily survivor. I mean, he lived on a daily basis, um, on a daily cycle. And see, the best thing is, if you have you seen, met him, have you seen him, Nachi, ever? No.
No,
No,
how could
couldn't
you?
have. He's probably been born the year you died.
I'm seeing you for the first time, like that too, like this.
Anyway, so
Mm.
this guy, he never had anything. Like he didn't have. See, we say everybody has possessions, right?
Mm.
Even people on the street, they gather things and they call, it's my pen, it's my book, it's like my something, it's my shirt. And he didn't have that concept. He just used everybody's anytime, and like he didn't have anything. He didn't have a second pair of like uh, dress to change, or like none of it. Even chappals, whatever like fitted his feet were worn. So books, he never had a book. I mean, he's read so many books, but he never had one to call it. I mean, my book. He never kept one like that. He just took one book from somewhere, left it somewhere. He's taken so many of my books and lost them. I mean, he's so. So he was a person like that. I mean, that is very rare. So Odessa could not find another one like that. It was completely, devoid of any needs or any of that. That was the reason. Otherwise, you cannot make a film without money. If you don't have a director like that,
Mm.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You can't. You need to have a really poor director to make a poor film. Otherwise, it's difficult. No.
That's okay. Yeah, that's quite a learning for me.
Yeah.
I just have few photographs for both of you. If you can just tell if there is any story behind that. Just few photographs. Just a minute. So can you see?
It's not
I
full
need
frame.
I need to select them. Is it?
No.
No.
Now can
Full
you see?
frame. No, it's not full frame, Nachi.
No.
Wait. Right now?
No.
No.
Okay,
Still there.
just a
Should
minute.
I tap on it? And
No. I'll do that.
He'll do it. He's sharing it from his screen.
Right now?
No.
Nothing.
Stop sharing and redo.
Okay. This is now.
No.
Oh, how do I show this? Wait. I think the two windows are open this way.
That's why you're showing the wrong window.
This one?
No.
Can it's possible?
Yeah,
right
that
now.
something happened then.
Abhi?
No. No.
Just a minute. I'll do that.
Oh, my phone is running out of power.
Okay. Can you see, ma'am? Now?
New.
Now there's nothing.
Okay. I just last time I like.
The screen sharing is only starting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah. This one?
Yeah.
This one is before he joined the institute, probably when he was working for LIC.
LIC. Yeah, this is
Oh,
his
this is an
LIC.
LIC agent.
No, he was working, he was an employee of the Life Insurance Corporation,
Okay.
not an agent.
Okay, he
No,
was an
he could
employee
never
there.
he could
Yeah.
never be an agent, LIC agent, nobody would
Yeah.
trust him.
This
Yeah,
was?
this is definitely
He
LIC.
resigned and he went to the.
Oh,
this
this
is-
I remember.
This, you haven't seen this play. You've seen only the picture. This is the medical college strike.
Yeah, I was there.
No,
On the terrace over there.
that was a recreation, you don't remember. This is a real thing.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Oh, this was the original strike.
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay. So almost he picked up the same faces. Like it feels as if
Because
these people-
it's probably the same crowd,
Okay. Okay. No, this was not the same medical college, no? He last got admitted on all the.
It was.
Same.
So that's something like.
There were at least like 200 people who could recognize him there at that time when he was admitted.
But why then the story came later that doctor confessed that I didn't know it was John Abraham.
He didn't know. He didn't know.
But the others would know. The PG.
In fact, the head of the neurosurgery was a person who was very close to him, to all of us, Dr. Iqbal. He was not informed.
Okay.
And he said it's the first, if there is a fall, neurosurgeon should be informed immediately. He could have recognized him.
Okay. Is this
I mean,
his
they
signature?
didn't check for his internal injuries,
Okay.
He died of that.
Okay. This was his signature. This one.
Which one? We're not seeing. Again, it's gone.
Okay. No, right now it will come. Can you see now?
No.
Right.
How is John's signature? I don't know. You've seen John's signature.
No.
I think that some. I don't know. I can't read this properly, so. Okay.
But it's not opened.
It's not
Actually,
open.
we're not seeing it.
Just give me a minute. Okay, that I think another thing. Can you see this?
No, but we know that photograph, but we can't see it.
You can see the icon, no? Maybe.
Yeah.
Icon is moving, yeah.
Yeah. Wait. This one.
This one, I know which picture.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
me and
This-
John with the camera, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that was during the shoot.
During Almarian.
Yeah, only
Yeah,
one
yeah.
thing I shot for you.
Yeah. No.
It was in Cochin.
Cochin. Okay.
No?
I don't know.
I
can't
think
make
it
out
was in Cochin.
I can't make out from Two Faces and a camera magazine that is Cochin.
Because I
No,
was
but
trying.
I remember I was told it was in Cochin.
Maybe.
Because I was trying to search your pictures also, ma'am, like maybe with him, and I couldn't find any. This was one picture I could find of Venu sir, actually. So I think just a minute.
This was the day before the internet, etc.
Yeah. So I think.
See, actually, what happened was also, the photographer who took a lot of pictures for this film was actually the still photographer for the film. He died soon after the film. He was a young fellow in an accident. So, nobody wanted to ask for the pictures or prints after that. So,
Oh, really? I didn't know.
that Gopalakrishnan died, no? He had an accident and, yeah.
Oh.
I was
So
just
they
seeing
were
for.
lost.
I was just saying for comments if people have asked some question. So one thing somebody has asked, and I also wanted to ask, how Amarian would have been done today, like 2020, if there was a situation in digital. Do you think that could have been possible?
Nobody would want to make a film like that now. I don't know.
Why is it so? Sir?
Who's going to make it? Who and the same people or another imaginary set of people?
No. If John was there, I'm not asking.
John was there now. What an imaginary situation.
He would have been 80. He would have been 85.
Yeah. At least. Yeah.
No, but it's an interesting question, I think, because about whether the digital form lends itself to this kind of energy and this kind of, I wonder if it does happen in the same way. Whether that kind of energy in an image is possible now, because there's so much manipulation of the image, there's so much, you know, that whether the same kind of images can be
Oh, you
recreated.
mean you are saying the
Yeah,
just the image making aspect of it?
Yeah, image making and
making,
because
filmmaking.
yeah, image making. If you can just
Image making,
Mhm.
not the process of production.
No.
Ah, image making could have been. Yeah, there are, like a lot of people use this kind of cameras now, no? Like
Mm.
small cameras, fitted body cams, so like could have done in various, a lot of things actually in that.
Okay. Another question was somebody had asked, what is John's view on film technology?
John's view on film technology was pretty um, primitive because he he liked like big equipment and this and that, and he was, but he didn't want to make an effort to get into that kind of situation. So he liked fancy equipment. He's come to a couple of my locations when I was doing commercial films with actors, and so he'll come near the camera and he'll sit. He liked equipment, and so,
Okay.
but
Then
he didn't want to make a lot of effort, like to keep the technology intact.
another question is, was there any additional light or mostly shot with available light?
No, we had a few lights with us because the
Oh,
package comes with a few lights, and but we didn't use it all the time, but we used it a few times.
okay, and just there are like big things I couldn't even read. I found the narrative of a young group of men funding as many as other people who knew the dead man and all, feeling impelled to travel. It takes a lot of time for me to read even. Okay.
What's the question?
No, it's a big thing. I don't know whether it's a question or some kind of a. Okay, I'll read it completely. I found the narrative of a group of young men finding as many others as possible who knew the dead man and all feeling impelled to travel all the way to another city to meet the family very moving. Would you say this was more than an ingenious plot device for the journey into the history of political struggles? Or
More than an ingenious
I'll
journey.
complete the question. Or is it also culturally and emotionally plausible scenario? It shows an unusual tender side of male bonding.
So
Yeah.
that male bonding that is seen in those scenes are real.
Hmm.
Uh, um, but I don't know if if you take it as a realistic situation, if people would have gone to every house and picked up people one by one and then presented them to that is a way of that is poetic license. That is how you fancy a thing. It's not real,
Okay. Because
is
it
it?
also comes another question which always have come to my mind is that why is there very less heterogeneous romance in all his films?
I
he
don't know. I don't know. I actually, like, I don't know. Is it like that?
Yeah, because
I feel very less.
Maybe he was not I mean, he was very romantic, but um, I don't know. He
I
had
would
a big
like to just
romance
say
also.
that he had a romance. Yeah, he had a,
Yeah.
no, but I would just like to say that actually through the editing, this whole Devi thing was a big, that the girl. In
Mhm.
fact, I thought it was quite unnecessary, but he really wanted that. What was her name? That Joy's girlfriend and the mother and going around that tree and all that. In fact, I suppose it's a different way of looking at romance. I don't know. There's a kind of. Uh,
Another very strange question, which I don't agree, but I will just ask. Do you consider him as the only one sole representative of full-fledged New Wave movement, which is literally copied from France.
Oh, he couldn't copy anything from France.
No, we are not France. I don't know who thinks like that anyway. Okay, I
No, and
think
certainly it is such a rooted film.
yeah.
The imagery is rooted, the ideas are rooted. Just now, this whole notion of the kind of travel. See, about that travel, I think the idea is that there were all these actually very disillusioned people who actually traveled together, So I think, yeah, was a it was a
This
plot.
travel and all are like a metaphor, It's like
Yeah, exactly.
these
It
are
was
created, not like imitate reality. If in a real situation, if whether somebody could have actually done this kind of travel or just gone straight to the dead man.
No, it's also a lot of foot
mm.
thing which is there, like a lot of walking on foot. Well, like
Yeah,
it's
so
also
those
coming.
are those are not. I mean, I don't think these were attempts to recreate reality.
Mm,
This was rather maybe like kind of expression.
okay.
It certainly is a
Yeah,
metaphor for uh,
I have very
this.
low battery remaining.
Yeah, fine. So we're wrapping it up. One last question, then I think we can wrap it up. So that poem which comes, Reni Castillo's Apolitical Intellectual. So who you think was that directed towards of that time, and like, or like
Not
where is
one
that
person, but
angst?
the whole set of people, who see being a political, like is not even now considered a negative political thing by many. People don't understand why is being a political dangerous. A lot of people don't understand it. They think
Being
it's being neutral.
apolitical, being
Yeah,
apolitically.
being apolitical.
Yeah. So they think it's being neutral. A lot of people think it isn't being neutral. So he was not, maybe he was not aiming it at one particular kind of face, but definitely, I mean, it's an irritating presence everywhere. They're the most difficult people to convince, who they think they're neutral, and they are political. So they
You think they have grown over age,
see, there
like
is people.
when Amarian was made and now? Do you think they have grown over age? Like there are more such artists than they were used to be during that time?
I don't know if it is against artists alone. It's also about. I mean, there are more.
Yeah,
But
that's
haven't you noticed there are more from both the sides,
okay.
from the political side and from the political side.
Hmm.
There are more
Also,
people coming up, isn't it? There are more opinions being heard. Or am I wrong? Worldwide.
No, the like even right-wing people are political. So if you
Yeah.
consider that, then obviously there is a big chunk of political
Yeah.
artists who have come. But I do consider them as apolitical. But yeah, that's a different opinion. Ma'am, you were telling something. I interrupted.
Yeah.
I also think that, if you look at the time when Amarian was made, 83, 84, we are just on the
85
cusp.
now.
85, 86, sorry. 85, 86, yeah. It was made in 86, it was completed, yeah. We are on the cusp of this liberalization, this whole, India was really changing at that time. And this kind of movements, etc., were really not considered, to be have had any value, any worth. The sense of the individual was coming up a lot more. So I think it was against all that as much, that to see a whole culture change that was happening. So much more individualism, so much more, this whole liberalization drive that was happening. I think this was all, he was addressing all that, not particularly as apolitical, but insensitive, perhaps, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a very peculiar time also. I mean, I think that the change that people who had been involved in all these this time and then see this change taking place. India was in a very peculiar situation at that
Don't you think
time.
we
I
are
think
we are
it was
we are again there?
baffling also for many.
No, no. Don't you think we are again at a very similar situation now, right now? Like
No, I think we're in a different situation. I think we're in a more dangerous situation now.
more
In a
dangerous.
different,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
in a different way. It's a
Okay.
different. Uh, I mean, now the disregard is of a different kind.
Okay. So that means that there is a more need of a more radical person like John. Right? That's the need, like of the hour. I think so. So on.
No, I think I would say I don't think we need one person. I think we need all you youngsters to now take on. The problem was with John, he was one person.
Hmm.
I think that's why it just stopped and it didn't go on. It's only when there are more younger people and more people who do this kind of thing, who think it's important, that it would. So I think that is a much more hopeful note to end on.
Sir, any ending remarks?
No, I just said my battery is running.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay, then. Only,
Okay,
only
thanks,
one.
Nachi. This was
Yeah, yeah.
really nice. And
Yeah.
I hope there was.
What were you going to say, Nachi?
The Wikipedia says both your birth dates are same. I think somebody should change it.
Yeah, if
Is
you're
it
a
true?
Wikipedia editor, who? Venu and myself?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is it true?
No.
No. I don't share. I share my birthday with slightly like
Okay,
bigger people.
okay, fine. Because I was going to say that somebody should take, because I'm not much of a Wikipedia person. Even John's Wikipedia page is full of mistakes. A lot of, even this birthday, I should accept that we went through a lot of
Yeah,
research.
finally I asked his sister and she said it's
Yeah,
tomorrow actually.
so that's why we could do such a thing today. And as your battery is running out, we are like wrapping up the session. Ma'am, really thank you for coming, sir. I'm meeting you for the first
Thanks,
time.
Naji.
So yeah,
And all
Thank
the
you very
best
much.
with your collective.
Are you in Chennai?
yeah, I'm in Chennai. Yeah,
You're in Chennai.
yeah, I'm in Chennai.
What is your collective called?
Potato Eaters?
Oh, that's the name of the.
Yeah, that's the name of the collective. So obviously
Okay.
from Van Gogh and also I think I personally don't like potatoes as a thing, but this is also a little.
Oh, I love potatoes.
Okay, then that's great. So
I'm
we are all
a
part
potato eater.
okay, we are all part of, like you, ma'am, everybody. Like I even consider John as part of the collective because a lot of inspiration comes from John and Odisha and other things. So it was very nice to have you all, and thank you everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Nachi.
everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody who's watching.